The opinions expressed in the following podcast are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security or investment product. It is only intended to provide education and entertainment about the financial industry and the stock market. Enjoy.
On this episode of Pennies Going In Raw, we discuss this week in the market, mentality, and also the SEC's out.
You find out life's this game of pennies.
Oh, you guys know we only have a 40% runner. Hello, 40% is a fucking killing.
We've been compliant for too long. It's time we go to war.
I don't have a Roth.
Hugh knows so much about the market that his brain doesn't have enough room for grammar.
Hey, who told me about IDEX? It's going up a shit ton now.
Rob, 4%, baby. No way. 4 fucking percent.
You asked the exact same question with 2 words different.
It's like, man, I just got dick whipped for like 20%, and now that f***er's up like 50.
I bet Warren Buffett never did that.
I'm just making this voice memo to call out unusual whales to a fight.
The pennies we need are everywhere around us.
Pennies.
Going in raw.
Featuring Dan, Deity of Dips,
And Hugh, honey.
Produced by Vinny.
And Christian.
Let's go, baby.
Welcome back to another episode of Pennies Going In Raw. Today is Wednesday, October the 27th, and I mean, people are posting ridiculous gains. You're seeing people have their first $1,000 day, first $10,000 day, first $100,000 days. Even, you know, a couple people besides just Zach Morris are posting $1 million days. Something in the water, or algos just flipped the F back on?
Yeah, I mean, algos flip back on. We've been talking about is that when we see those second moves, you know, like the first move, the first pop, and then the come down, the support, and then the second move up, you know, when it looks like it should fail, and usually it would fail 2-3 months ago, and then it holds, and then it holds, and then it goes higher. Those are the type of things where, that's when you can make all your money, because algos will just take this higher. So you can, build a large position, and there's big intraday moves. There's big range inside these moves, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean, you are seeing halt ups. I mean, you saw it on My Size today. Throwback to the Gary episode if you want to hear a funny story on My Size. But you saw that today. I mean, you're seeing some pennies run. Obviously, we're recording this day before on Tuesday, but I mean, what can we do to ensure like we don't lose on any of these aside from, just the typical not chasing and take profits? Are there any setups you're staying away from?
Sometimes it'll be like if I know that I usually don't trade that well. Like G-Nuss had a really good day yesterday, and I think someone even DM'd me asking if I was still, like in G-Nuss or something. And the thing is that like it went crazy, but it's just something that I don't trade well, and it's something that I don't typically do well on, so I just stay away from it. So I think a lot of it comes down to experience. The other thing is that like I know that I don't trade China stocks really well, so I typically stay away from China stocks. So I think a lot of it comes from personal experience. But the biggest thing that I will say is that sometimes, you'll see OCGN today or Tuesday, OCGN ended up getting halted down. Things like there's a lot of range, and the good thing about range is that you can make a lot of money. You can also lose a lot of money. So I think the biggest thing is that if the trade isn't working, get rid of it. If the trade is working, let it ride for a little bit. But I really would, you can size up, but if you're the type of person that will have 30-40% of your account inside a day trade, I probably wouldn't size up, because if a midday offering, like companies are going to start to get slick. This is where the rotation comes in, to where companies know that stocks are mooning. They'll have an offering waiting for you once they release news. 11 a.m. they'll drop a midday offering. All of a sudden it halts down. It goes from up 100% to break even. If you had bought it when it was up 50%, now you're getting smoked on it. So I think the biggest thing is that if you're the type of person that's going to put 30-40% of your account inside a day trade, don't.
Yeah, I mean,
de-risk.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of things with the amount of size you're putting in. Obviously, you want to size up and everything, but at the same time, this market's hot, and there can obviously with the downsides of what you said, like offerings, but also there could be another play pop up. You need to always have capital. That's why in this market, it's if you're holding swings that aren't doing much. I mean, you're seeing everyone else make money. Don't be afraid to cut it, man. I mean, it's the time to make your money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this has been one of my best weeks. I mean, I've traded so many different things.
Yeah, and it's only Tuesday.
Really, yeah, it's only Tuesday, and so I mean, the biggest thing is just like EVs. You know, I had orders out for all EVs on dips, and guess what? The charts look exactly the same. That's the great thing about playing sympathies. Is that typically the charts look pretty much the same across the board. You know, I mean, like Tuesday or today, you know, China stocks were running. First time around, I was basically stop out even on that SJJD or whatever. But then the second time around, you know, once Beanie went even higher, CJJD or whatever, I was there for it. You know, it started to come up on my scanner. I saw some, you know, some social, you know, interactions online and stuff. And so I said, all right, let's do it. And so I added more, or, you know, I got back into the trade, you know. So it's one of those things where like, and I think the short bias traders will understand this, is that especially from the long side, you know, things are coming back intraday. So what I mean by that is that they're popping, they're kind of selling off a little bit, and then you're seeing them regain this trend, and you're seeing even them go even higher than before. You know, so like I was just talking about with the China EDU stocks. The Chinese stocks. So the biggest thing is that, you know, it's okay to take little paper cuts and come back to it. Like I said, I think it was that NYSZ or whatever. You know, I had lost $500, and then it was like, you know, I had added back. You know, and so it's one of those things where, you know, you can trade around a lot. Just understand your size. Don't put on too many positions. But it's okay to kind of trade around because there's so many opportunities out there. Like I was in like 4 different sectors today at one point.
Yeah. How do you keep up with all that? I mean, obviously you're one of the guys, we all know what your setup looks like, tons of screens and everything. But I mean, does it take a toll on you having to do all that? I know you were tweeting yesterday. It was one of your first days being back at the desk, 13 hours. How do you manage 4 sectors at a time?
Yeah, so it's funny. I actually changed my my broker outlay from like five charts to
you mean layout?
To 12. Yeah, whatever it is.
Outlay. That's just a weird one.
It's been like 8 years since I've like really done. Like someone was like, "Hey, like how do I switch from the home screen?" I'm like, "Dude, it's been 8 years. Like for the last 8 years, it's just I open up my brokerage account and it just pops up."
Yeah, no, I mean, I whenever I look at like my mom's or something, I'm like, "How do you know your average? Like, where's that at?"
Yeah, exactly. Like what? Like I don't know, bro. You know, and he's like, I thought you've been doing this forever. But no. So I switched to like I call it the busy screen, and that's when like I had 20 charts up. Pretty much I have. It's more for me about monitoring and price alerts more than anything. So for instance, like I said, is that I had orders out for the EVs. You know, some of them got filled, some of them didn't. But I had the price alert. So boom, it would be like I would have a trade on, and then I'd see the price alerts, and instantly I know that I'm interested at that level. You know, I'm not really watching too much. Like I said, I have the graphs up, but I'm not just scanning 20 different charts all the time. It's I set price alerts. If the price alerts hit, great. If they don't, then they just expire, and I probably don't think about it again. You know, or again, is that I have the scanners up. And if the scanners come, you know, a big volume pop or a new high of day, something like that, I immediately turn back to the sympathies that I knew had recently run or, you know, have gotten talked about.
All right, well, kind of going into it, I mean, you wanted to talk about mentality, and there's a lot of different types of things where mentality plays a role into it, whether or not it be your emotions when trading, not getting upset, not FOMOing, not cutting things too early. All of that comes back to your emotions because, I mean, that's exactly how one trader can make money and one can lose on the exact same trade. I mean, in a hot market, it's kind of different though. I mean, how can mentality play into like you ensuring you bank the most. I mean, because I even saw, I think it was, sorry, but just one more thing. I remember seeing Blake Stonks yesterday tweet, I didn't make money today and everyone else is banking hard. But I mean, like, the people that end up hating on those days, like, damn, like, fuck those guys. Those are the ones that bad mentality. You're gonna end up losing. Like, you gotta see what they did. What did you do wrong? Instead of like, man, how did fuck these guys?
100%. I think that that's a really important thing. And I truly do believe in karma. Like, I'm just that kind of like person that does believe it. So I try and stay away from, oh, fuck that guy. Like, I didn't make any money today. Like, I hope that guy doesn't make any money tomorrow. Because I just think that that's like super toxic and super unhealthy. But I heard something recently, and I think that it really plays into trading. Like, out of everything inside the world, and obviously this is bias, this really fits into trading. And it was, you signed up for this. I think like that, like it sounds so simple, but when I think about it, it's like every time that I'm sitting, and especially with day trading, it gets really tough for me because I'll go from, up 1% on the account to up 5% to down 2%. And I'm so frustrated sometimes, and sometimes just out of your control. So it's one of those things where, I actually wrote on a Post-it note and I said, you signed up for this. Like, you knew that there was tons of risk inside this game. You knew that nobody was going to come here and hold your hand. You knew that you could make, any amount of money that you truly wanted to. And on the same flip, you knew that you could lose it all. And I think that that's a really important topic for not only, to bring up during the good times, because during the good times, it doesn't matter. Because, when you're making money, it seriously doesn't matter. Something could break on the car and you're like, I made that today, your girlfriend wants to go to an expensive dinner and you're like, oh yeah, babe, like, let's do it, and she's like shocked because usually you'd be like, that's an expensive spot. When the good times are good, they're great. But when the bad times are bad, it is so toxic, and sometimes you're FOMOing stuff and you're buying stuff that you don't need and you're freaking out. Like, I know that me personally, when I have a bad trading day, I pretty much take it out on anybody around me, and that's not good, obviously. And the thing that I really have to remember is that I signed up for this. Like, I knew the risk, I knew the reward, and I really just keep coming back to, you can't just walk into this game, blindly following people on Twitter. I use my Twitter account as a journal, to journal my trades, and the biggest thing that I see is that, tons of people just want to come into the market and follow people on Twitter and just make tons of money. And that's not how this works, And the other thing is that, like, in the past 2 years, we've seen so many people make so much money. And right now we're seeing so many people make so much money. And it's an awesome thing. But at the same time, again, the good times are good and the bad times are bad. And it's just something that I felt was really important. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was really like kind of being at the desk and being in focus. Because one thing for sure is that it's really easy to walk away when you're up, 2% of your account. But if you're having a good day, I think it's really important that you push it. Like, if you're inside a groove and you're pushing it, like I'm extremely tired as we do this. For anybody watching, for anybody watching the YouTube, I'm sure you can see the bags of my eyes. I live for this, but this is something that I cannot do year round probably because I get super unhealthy with work to the point to where I work an insane amount of hours, an insane amount of days, and I end up not being able to sleep, and I end up sleeping 2-3 hours, and it just gets super unhealthy. So I'm super happy that the market's like this. But the biggest thing is that, and it comes back to kind of what we talked about last week, is that while having that daily goal is important, it shouldn't be the end all be all. Like, for instance, yesterday I had a super fire day, or even today, I had a super fire day. And I was hitting, I basically called top on SPY, like I basically entered SPY puts at the top, and it had flushed. I had covered some, and I was gonna not play SPY anymore because I had, I made like 50% on the calls, and I said, you know what? I'm really feeling this. Let me get back into the groove and see if I can get another trade. And so I think that it's really important to understand that, hey, on the off months, really take those months off. And when we're inside these really hot months, you really should push it. Okay. Now, again, if it's one of those things like I know when I'm playing blackjack, if I have 3 cold hands, I'm out. If you're having a really hot day and you've hit your goal, and now you're gonna try and continue to push it, and then you give back 20% of your day, fine, then be done with it, And I think that's really important, Like, do you kind of agree, or do you think that it's like one of those hit your goals and be done?
No, I think your goals should always be adjustable. And especially even when it comes to day in and day out, and not just like seasonally. Obviously, right now during a hot market, your goal shouldn't be if it's 1% a day. It shouldn't be that. It should make it 2, make it 3. But throughout the day, if you're up 1.5% and the market opened an hour ago, shoot for the moon, man. Go for 4%. Don't lose it all, but feel your shot. If you're hot, you're hot. But I mean, when you start whiffing a couple, know when to stop.
Yeah, and that's really important. And then it comes back to this mindset. Because I had somebody actually inside my DMs yesterday, and I'm happy because we had talked about, we were going to do this episode on mindset, and then this person DM'd me and they had said, yo, Hugh, like I had a super hot week last week, and then this Monday, talking about the other day, I basically screwed it up. And I had a terrible Monday, and I gave back half of last week. And last week was my biggest week, and this is my biggest loss. And the one thing that I try and do is that when I hit a new speed bump, or I kind of hit like a new problem in life, one of the things that like I kind of try and do is I kind of look back at when I would freak out about, maybe a $200 loss. Like a $200 loss when I first started was like, oh my God, like maybe I should stop this. Now if I take a $2,000 loss, if you're freaking about a $2,000 loss, maybe it's like one of those, and you have that same mindset. I try and look back at those times so I can kind of calm myself down and remind myself, okay, this is a worry for me right now. But in the future, hopefully this isn't a worry, and every single time thus far that I've freaked out about this new problem, this new speed bump, this new loss, I've always not only reached a new level, but I look back and laugh at myself for when I was freaking out about that $200 loss. $200 loss 8 years ago was like, dude, oh my God. Now it's like, sometimes that's slippage. So it's one of those things that I think is really important to understand is that this is all about the journey. This is all about the growth. If you take a $200 loss and you freak out about it, and then you take a $2,000 loss, and that $2,000 loss is not, let's call it 10% of your account. If it's more than 10% of your account, okay, you didn't manage your risk. But if you followed your plan, you followed your risk management was tight, and you hit a new highest spread day, in my opinion, that's more of like a trophy case. Hey, I managed my plan. I managed my risk, and now I'm able to take this big of a loss. Obviously, you don't want to take that big of a loss, but it's one of those things where, you can look back and you say, this same plan, this same managed trade, this same loss 2 years ago was a $200 loss. That is some serious growth and something to be proud of. And so I just want to, if you guys are making a lot of money, but then you're also having bigger red days, remind yourself of that, okay? That with bigger green days also come bigger red days. And with bigger, scaling also comes bigger red days. And the other thing is that, take some time sometimes, especially when you have a big day or you have a big red loss, and look back and kind of chuckle at yourself because you thought that a $200 green day was huge, but now you're having $500 green days, and inside the same token, like I just talked about, laugh at yourself a little bit, because at the end of the day, as long as you follow your plan, you manage your risk, and you can create a systematic approach with a, let's call it a 60-40 win rate, you will make it inside this game. You will. So I think it's one of those important things, and this is what I was talking about with the gentleman, is that, you don't have to be proud of it, but you also have to realize that this is all about the growth, that you've come so far, that you still followed your plan, and I think the other thing is that, and this is like the third part kind of, is that when you take a loss, ask yourself, would I take this trade again? And if you would, be done with it. But have the shortest term memory. If you can, and most of the time for me, I've noticed inside my experience that I know immediately when I ask myself that question, I don't have to think about it because I already know. I already know, like, damn, like, no, like I FOMO'd that, and I can kind of pinpoint very quickly if I should have taken the trade. Or on the flip side, I'll do on the flip side, I'll do certain things like I'll ask myself, should I have taken this trade? And I'll immediately answer yes. And that's when I have to move on, So I think that that's really important.
Yeah. One thing that's kind of fun for me to always think about on like really big red days is like, damn, if I ever thought to myself that I'd have the opportunity to lose $10,000 in one day and not do something drastic, I would have never guessed that. The fact that we can lose way insane amounts of money just goes to show, like, you got to a position where, yeah, it might move the needle. Yeah, it might be a lot, but you lost that. If you lost that 2 years ago, your wife's leaving you because you made a terrible decision with the life savings. But now it's just, it's a red day. So, I mean, just finding ways to think about those red days is definitely always a big one. But I guess, if you're one of those guys that has been red in this hot market, what would you say to them in a way of like, yeah, they've analyzed their stocks and it's just like, yeah, I've been chasing, I've been looking at these. I'm still kind of new. I use Twitter for advice and finding them. One and two things. One, okay, for the guy that wants to buy the Twitter alerts in a hot market but doesn't want to chase. And two, for the person who's looking for their own stocks. Yeah.
So the first thing that I think is really important to understand is that, and this comes from my own personal, everything comes from my personal experience, but I didn't used to do well inside these markets. And in fact, like even now, I look at, some people and they're blowing me out of the water with their P&L, and that's okay. In fact, I used to do terrible inside these markets because during, when intraday moves are taking the volume away from swing trades is when, people will sell their swing trades or people will sell their investments so that they can buy the intraday movers, like the DWAC or whatever the hell the Trump stock was, or the AMC or the GME, stuff like that. That's when, people will sell their swing trades. So I used to do terrible during times like this. And like I said, is that I found, themes that I really like to trade. EVs, I really like to trade some of the weeds when they hold up, stuff like that, where I can say to myself, okay, I can define my risk, I can define my edge, and that's what it comes down to, I think one of the biggest issues that people run into is that they immediately want to be very profitable at every single strategy. Theme trading, day trading, swing trading, whatever it is, options trading, stuff like that. I think that it's one of those things where you have to understand that this is a process, okay? So if you're starting out, let's just say that you're predominantly a swing trader like I am, and you're predominantly a swing trader like I am, and you're trying to trade the intraday themes. The biggest thing that is going to be understanding is that you're not going to trade everything great. Okay. The other thing is that the emotional side of this is completely different. And that's what used to screw me up, is that I couldn't see 3 or 4 red positions at a time. That would freak me out. 3 or 4 red positions that I knew were going to be day trades, because that would just freak me out. So I think it's really important to understand that it's a process. Okay, if you are someone who's not really, you don't love tons of risk, then trading something with tons of range is not going to help.
Hey guys, if you're tired of trimming your stocks too early, well, let me tell you something. Never worry about trimming anything early ever again with Manscaped. Let me tell you about their Performance Package 4.0. It comes with free boxers, a toiletry bag, and free shipping with a little discount when you use code PGIR. I mean, it comes with the razor you need, the sprays you need. I mean, dude, obviously, clearly I can't show you guys what's going on down there, but if I could, man, you guys would be amazed. Wireless charging, it's waterproof. Take it in the shower for all I care. I mean, it's going to get you right. It's got the light. Man, the Lawnmower 4.0 is the best trimmer I have ever used. And that's not all it comes with. It comes with hella other shit. Like the boxers. I mean, look, I get it. Not all of us are boxer guys. Give it to your girl. She'll like them too. But man, when it comes with the weed whacker, that shit's for your nose or ears. I mean, you could, God, Manscaped has something for every hole and crevice of your body. So make sure to use code PGIR on manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. That's code PGIR on manscaped.com. So, I think even if you look at some of these charts that some people call, even when it comes like Zach and stuff, you'll see them raise up a lot, go down, hold, and then bounce hard. Like you saw with my size, he called it at like 169, 170, halted to 195, went down, held 170, and then went all the way to 280, like almost 100% runner. And if you're watching them, don't be the one slapping it, be the one that waits for the dip, be the one that waits for it to bottom out and then grab it. And so you're not the one complaining for 20 minutes while it dips. And then you look like an idiot whenever it pops up 60%, or even worse, you get scared and you sell it at 170 instead of buying more.
Yeah. No, I think one of the biggest things is that you need to create a plan, not only because you should, but just because it forces you not to slap it immediately. I think one of the biggest things that people get into is that, like, oh man, like Zach called this, like this has got to go, or something like that. And, Zach is a great trader. But the thing is that, you have to remember is that if Zach's calling it, or Zach's, even if Zach's the one to slap it, he's still in lower than the current price. Okay, so his risk is going to be different than your risk. Okay, you need to go more than he does. It's like little things like that, to where it's like, if you have a plan, okay, one, you're not going to FOMO. Okay, because you're going to say, okay, if it pulls back to here, I'm going to add. If it doesn't, I'm not going to trade it. Listen, I promise you right now that there are traders out there who only take, like I'm talking traders, like intraday traders, who only take 100, maybe 200 trades a year, and they make great money. And that's because their win percentage is so high, because they wait for only the best quality setups. And so I promise that if you do that if you take 80-90% of your account and you only wait and you only trade the best setups, you're going to do well. Now, if you're one of those traders who likes to sprinkle stuff around and anything that comes up on the scanner, you buy, that's fine. You can do that too. Whatever works, really. I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, hey, if you're making money, that's not the way to do it. But the biggest thing is that, in this game, it's way more about quality over quantity, because at the end of the day, if you get smoked and you lose your account, there's nothing that you can do. Okay, there's nothing that you can do. Not making any money is way better than losing your money.
Yeah, and going back to when you were talking about different risk tolerance for the person calling it and then the people in it, and also like when you say the algos are back on, who do you think's getting the stock faster when he tweets it? You or an algorithm? There are quite literally algos on these guys' tweets that'll buy it and then sell it to me. Like that's why a lot of these walls will just come up and you'll see, and so it'll immediately pop super hard between the algos, the people with tweet notifications on, and then you got the penny flippers, and then you're probably going to get that dip there, and then it has to depend on if it holds. I mean, like you were just saying when you were saying, yeah, great trader and everything, but these people don't know if there'll be an offering called. I mean, you can trust them even if their track record is perfect. No one knows when a company's going to just bang it on you, man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is that, like, the biggest thing that one of my biggest pet peeves is that, and obviously I go overboard when I look into a company, compared to, most traders. But the biggest thing is that when they don't know anything about a company, like there are plenty of companies out there that I trade that I would never I would never shake hands with the CEO. Like there's plenty of companies out there. But guess what? I use them as a vehicle to trade. I see, they come up on a scanner, or I see, someone post the idea and I like it, something I see it inside a forum, something like that. I'm there. I like that, and I'm going to be there. And I'm going to use it as a vehicle and, a trading vehicle. But other than that, I'm not investing inside these companies. And so one of the biggest things is that, especially if you're newer to this game, just take the time and create watch lists for EVs, weed, other sectors, not only because for sector trading, but for swing trading, stuff like that. Just get to know these companies a little bit. Because the biggest thing is that, you saw who had Fun. In fact, I think we talked about it on Sunday. We said that Fun is a piece of shit. That I hate that company. And yet they still went to 24. They were still up 600%. Guess what they did? They dropped a $50 million offering. Like, I knew that it was going to drop an offering. Did I short it? No, because the edge wasn't there. Did I go long? No, because I hate the company that much. But inside the same token, if I know it was going to go to 24, you bet your ass I would have been buying it at 5. So it's one of those times where if you can identify your edge, you can identify your risk, and you can use that vehicle as a trading vehicle, and you are not going to fall in love. Do it. But just be grounded and keep your head in it and understand that you're a trader. Okay, it goes up, you sell. It goes down, you have to manage your risk. Okay.
Damn, going up sounds a lot easier than going down. Managing risk sucks. Okay, well, we can kind of end this one out with a little fun segment. Been a little something going on. I wake up this morning at like 5:30. I didn't wake up at 5:30, but I saw this text from Hugh at 5:30. We've got trouble, or we're fucked. Just something dramatic. And I'm like, what? I actually called him. He didn't answer.
Because you called me at 9:33.
Yeah, I mean, I just woke up, man.
What do you think I'm doing? What do you think I'm doing? Chilling out, playing.
I don't know your schedule.
You know where I'm at 9:30.
Yeah, well.
You know where I'm at.
My alarm's at 9:30. So you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what, dude? And he's like, AJ Trades, awesome calls, is getting sued. And I'm like, and what the fuck does this have to do anything with us? He's like, we've interviewed him. I'm like, okay. There are people that interviewed Jeffrey Epstein before he got in trouble, and Fox is doing all right.
We interviewed him as a good trader. And according to his tax returns, he's not a good trader.
Okay, well, here, in his defense, before you go and explain it all, I mean, people swear by his room. I'm not trying to promote his room. I did think his interview was a little self-promoty. I even told you that. You may see a couple eye rolls, but whatever. No complaints, But people swear by his room. However, he probably won't be making calls much longer. And just a disclaimer, I'm not in his room or anything. But why? What did the tax shit say?
Dude, it said that in 20. Okay, listen. I have people.
Just a little funny part. I only read the headline, and it was awesome calls
You
may
didn't
not
read
be.
the article I sent you?
I read the first. Dude, it was trading hours. I get way less than everyone else because I wake up later. Okay?
I can't, man.
So
Listen.
the headline said awesome calls, maybe not so awesome.
And that's my point. Okay, PGIR. Okay, listen. Okay, we might be goofy, but we love our jobs. We love our reputation. And so my biggest thing was that we bought this guy on as a good trader. Like that was the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, I see this article, and it's 2020, what most perceive as the hottest stock market year ever, that he lost $14 million trading stocks. Like not in tax write-offs, like $14 million. The year before that, $500,000. The year before that, like $200,000. So my point was that
everyone has a cold streak.
Our reputation, a cold streak. Then you shouldn't be having a paid room. It's like me going on like a fitness podcast saying that I bench 300. I sure as fuck don't bench 300, but nobody paying me for my workout advice.
I'm going to do like squats with like really baggy jeans on. I'm like, listen, guys.
yeah. Like my thing was that like I was like, oh my god, like the podcast is ruined. Like we bought this guy on.
You sound like you're saying we bought this guy on. Just for clarification, he's saying we brought him on. We didn't pay him any money to come on. It keeps sounding like you're saying we bought him on. Yes, okay.
Okay, we came on the podcast, like, we were interviewing a good trader, like, like, it sounded like he knows what, like you said, people swear by his calls and stuff.
On the interview, he said that, he made all that money in, was it insurance, some bullshit.
Oh, that was the other thing. Oh, my God. That's the other thing. His mortgage company failed. He said he made all his money.
Where did he make all the money then that he's losing? The room.
Fuck, the room. That's the whole point of this. The room. So my whole thing was like, okay.
Is this all allegedly? Like, are we sure this is?
No. The state of California released not his tax returns, but this is what like the general attorney or whatever for the state of California said. Like he was the one.
Has he said anything about this?
No, the attorney, his
has he
lawyers
tweeted
declined
since? Is he still like tweeting and shit?
Oh my god, yeah, he's all over the place.
Well, I don't,
So my thing is like, okay, we interviewed this guy that was supposed to be a good trader. First off, he lied to us, but he lied to everybody, saying that he made all his money on the mortgage.
just in case.
Okay, allegedly.
Allegedly. But hey, man, if we did mess anything up, you'd feel free to tweet at us or message it, and we'll get it right on the record. But as of right now, due to this article I didn't read, it's not looking good. So, but
I don't care about him. I care about us.
Then again, you haven't been the best at reading comprehension in the past. So I am going to have to look at this article myself.
The state official is seeking the return of $3 million Hallworth earned by selling Awesome Calls membership.
Yeah, here's one. In truth, Hallworth has lost large amounts of money trading stocks every year since 2016. Defendants deceived their customers into paying millions of dollars for purported strategies and trade recommendations that defendants knew were unlikely to help customers, quote unquote, achieve consistent profits or, quote, turn the stock market into your personal money machine, among other false claims.
Wait. Here's the golden ticket. Despite proclaiming that he could predict the movement of the stock before the market even opens, Hallworth had net losses every year since 2016, including $500,000 in 2018, $200,000 in 2019. Getting a little better, not a big a loss. Yeah, and a staggering $14 million in 2020. You know how much money that is a day? That's what is that? $20,000 a day
For
that
how
he
much?
lost inside this 20 for 14 million.
Oh, that's like, dude, 100. That's like, I think closer to a lot more than that.
For 14 million, I don't know, but okay, and then it follows it up, and this is the part where it's not allegedly. Okay, the attorney general said in the complaint. That's not alleged. That's like a fact. Like it's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't say this article's looking good. We'll show you guys if anyone wants to see it.
Okay, I don't
it's
care
online.
about him. I care about us.
Yeah, no, I mean, fuck. We're not supposed to know that. We don't have his fucking tax returns, man. We just know him by reputation. It was decent.
I blame the
aside
fucking
from,
intern.
yeah, okay. To get other people's tax returns, he's a fucking 20-year-old at North Carolina, dude. It's not like he
Christian.
He hasn't gotten to the fucking like hacking the Federal Reserve. Like he'll get to that next year. He hasn't hacked the IRS yet.
Either way, I feel that we owe an apology to our listeners because we thought that we
don't
bringing
owe
on
them
someone
shit.
Who was this. We said they was a successful trader.
When did we
In
say
fact,
that?
I'm like, that's the whole reason we bought him on. We didn't bring him on because he lost 14. Actually, we should. I mean, now we should bring him on because he lost. Like now, we should get his side of the story.
Maybe we owe an apology to the people that were like, "Why did you interview this guy with an SEC thing against him?" I mean, they did mention that before, but I mean, hey, you live and you learn, man. We're gonna get him eventually. You know, we need. Oh fuck, great idea. Dog the Bounty Hunter, but for like SEC violations.
Have him looking to everybody. Listen, at the end
Dog
of the day,
the Stalky Hunter.
yeah, at the end of the day, I thought that we were bringing on a really successful trader with really good ethics. To me, it's really sad to see. You did call it out that he was really promoting on the podcast, like over promoting. But at the end of the day, I thought that we were bringing on someone that was ethical, someone that was trying to do the right thing for people. And who knows, maybe he still is. But the non-successful mortgage business, the $14 million in losses in 2020, the $500,000 in 2018, kind of contradict that a little bit. So at the end of the day, we're sorry.
And
Still
to prevent
love us.
further scams, we'll never DM you on Instagram or Twitter asking for your money. So let's just make that very clear. It sucks whenever people we feel like fuck. We feel bad when people DM us and like, hey, I gave this guy $5,000, but at the same time, like, come on, man, yo, my worst part is whenever they DM me and they're like, hey, is this you? I'm like, no, you're DMing me.
Listen, at the end of the day, figure out how to make money on your own, okay? Follow us because you think Dan and I are cute. Follow Zach because you think he's cute. Follow AJ Calls because...
You want to keep up with the allegations. Hey, dude, I got a World Series to go to. We got to get the fuck out of here. Give us 5 stars, damn it.
All right.
Love us. Bye.